Now, the first question is, in this transmission, you're describing the idea of other realities bleeding through into the one we are in. Can you point out some of the strongest reality bleed-through events that we would recognize from modern history?
Not so much historic events that we will call out, but the idea of certain experiences, like deja vu, can be the result of bleed-through from other realities that may be experiencing something similar to what you are experiencing in your timeline, but maybe ahead of your timeline, the event already having happened. And therefore, when you pick up on the idea that the event has already happened in another timeline, when your consciousness is expanded enough to do so, and become sensitive to receiving that information that has happened in the other parallel timeline, and you, in your reality, finally arrive at that moment, then you have a sense that it has happened before, that you know what's going to happen. So that's one way in which the idea of bleed-throughs can express themselves in your timeline, through the idea of deja vu.
Okay. How different are the parallel Earth realities where Christmas was never celebrated in the Western world? Is there another holiday that generally replaced it? And are they farther from open contact than we are, or do they have a variation of it?
You are speaking as if there are only a few realities that experience things in different ways. There are a large number of realities that have different experiences along the subject that you're asking about. So when you say, are they closer to contact than we are, some of them are, some of them are not. Some of the major changes in terms of what you experience as your Christmas holidays in some versions of Earth are experienced simply as winter solstice day, and maybe more representative of some of the original ideas that you experienced on Earth before it became known as the idea of Christmas. When the winter spirit in certain cultures was acknowledged, celebrated, and was the one delivering the idea of gifts, so on and so forth, such as beings that one culture on your planet refers to as Kernanos, instead of the idea of Santa Claus. So again, there are many different versions of Earth that experience holidays in many different ways. Some of them are very similar to yours. Some of them are not like yours at all.
Okay. You have said that our nuclear weapons might disturb other realities because too much energy can punch holes into other realities. If that is the case, then what exactly is happening within our sun? Soul, our sun, must be punching holes into other realities because of the intense energy within it. What does this look like in the other realities, and is there bleed through from other realities into our sun?
Yes, stars, being a natural phenomenon, fit in a balanced way within the universe. They do represent portals and doorways into different realities, but again, since it is all created naturally as part of the structure of the universe, it is not out of balance. It does not cause negative repercussions, even though it may tunnel into different timelines and different realities, and stars in one reality may appear very differently in another reality. The idea of nuclear war, nuclear detonations, is not, in that sense, a natural phenomenon, and therefore can be disruptive by being an expression of a large release of energy in an unnatural, unbalanced way that doesn't fit into the idea of the natural structure of existence. And that is why it is something to be avoided.
Okay, this person is saying that they can no longer depend on fingerprint ID on electronics because once they set it up, it only lasts for a short while, sometimes just a few hours. Is that a function of their shifting realities, or is it just a mundane technical problem?
It can sometimes be a technical issue, but the idea is that when people start accelerating their vibration, they can interfere with electronic devices in many different ways. So it can be a sign that you are broadening your bandwidth and that the vibration you're giving off may not necessarily always be vibrationally compatible with some of the electronic devices that you use.
And how exactly do you switch timelines? Can it feel seamless and easy? How will I know that I switched timelines? Can I ask for an obvious sign like a new freckle that I didn't have before?
Sometimes there are physical manifestations of having made a switch, but again, remember, you are switching all the time. So yes, it is usually seamless. You don't even know you're doing it. When it is necessary for you to recognize that you have shifted into a parallel reality, again, you're doing this billions of times per second, but when it becomes necessary for you to recognize that you're doing it, when it is something that you need to experience as not being seamless, when you notice the shift, it can happen in many different ways. You can just get a feeling, an energy surge. You might see something different on your body that you didn't notice before. You might see things differently in your surrounding reality that you didn't notice before. You might see things appearing that weren't there a moment ago or disappearing that were there a moment ago. There can be many different ways in which you can recognize you have shifted. It just depends on the person and what is relevant for your life path. But remember that you're shifting all the time. It is usually seamless. It is not something you necessarily have to pay attention to. It is something that happens automatically as you guide yourself by making your choices, and then that determines and controls exactly how you're shifting. That's why, again, we give you the formula, because it is a very precise navigational tool that will allow you to navigate through the shifting into different parallel realities in a way that works to your advantage, that is relevant for the experience in a positive way of what you laid out in your life path.
And is it possible to move from one reality to the next without having the death experience? This individual says,
you're shifting all the time. So you are moving from one reality to another in a sense without the idea of experiencing death. So yes, it's possible. But again, the idea of death is something a little bit different, because you're waking back up into yourself as a soul, as a spirit, and it serves a different function. It serves a different purpose. It gives you the opportunity to make choices on a different level.
okay, and this next question is, why must we humans shift to a certain vibration if there exists an intelligent universe and higher beings that are able to translate our intentions and wishes? Why is it so complicated to shift to a reality we prefer?
It is all about the process of learning how to do that by going through the process. That's why you chose to have a physical experience, so that you challenge yourself in a different way than you challenge yourself in spirit. And by challenging yourself through the idea of the experience of physical processes, you gain knowledge and insight and lessons and growth in a different way than you would in spirit. The idea that there may be other beings that exist on higher levels has nothing at all to do with the choices you have made for what you will experience in your particular life path. They may assist you, you may have a team behind you, but they will only be able to assist you on the life path that you all agreed you would experience, and the processes you agreed that you would go through, because your soul determined that that's what you needed for your particular kind of growth that you preferred. So you are living out your life path, and will go through these challenges and processes because they are the lessons that you need to learn to grow in the way that you chose to as a soul.
Okay, and this individual is saying that during the night between November 30th and December 1st, they felt a wave of positive vibration go through their body that woke them up. It was like an earthquake or the pressure wave from an explosion. I could feel and even see it. Before this, I dreamed of a small yellow oval-shaped light slowly falling onto my balcony. I sensed it might be delivering a message. Could this experience be connected to the CE5 contact I did the evening before? Some are linking the Schumann resonance during the time frame to a timeline shift. What could have happened here?
Yes, you had an encounter. You opened up to the idea in your CE5 of inviting an encounter, and therefore you had one. But it took place on different levels of reality, and so seems a little bit confusing to you because it didn't necessarily take place in your physical reality in totality. So by experiencing that encounter in a slightly altered version of reality, it is something that doesn't quite make sense to you when you wake up in the morning and start to remember what you experienced, sort of similar to the idea of a dream. Nevertheless, it was representative of an encounter you had invited to have happen.
And since we are constantly shifting between realities, if we feel we've given away our energy, become disconnected, or fallen out of balance, is it necessary to go back and fix or clarify the situation with the person or circumstance involved? Or can we simply reclaim our energy, reconnect within ourselves, and move forward? In general, when is it best to address the past versus letting go and moving on?
It depends on the circumstance, the situation. If you feel it is important for you in some way, shape, or form to clarify your intentions with another person in terms of what happened, that's all well and good. If you're not necessarily able to do that, or it's really not necessarily relevant for you to do that, you can simply learn the lesson and move forward. Either can work.
Okay. And can you give us some suggestions or tools to more easily access our parallel lives?
Again, you're accessing them all the time when you need to, when it's relevant for your life path, to download information from a parallel reality experience. You don't always need to know that that's happening consciously. Let it happen automatically. If it becomes relevant for you to know that, then by following the formula, synchronicity will bring it to your attention when and where it's important for you to have a realization that that's happening. Otherwise, don't interfere with the mechanism. Let it function and flow naturally, automatically, so that you can simply move forward in your life by downloading what you need from where you need it, when you need it.